Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister. And what a weekend it has been. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We are live. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have subscribed to the Nikki Maduro Show. President Joe Biden is going to go down as one of the best U.S. presidents we have ever had, solely for the historic decision that he made over the weekend. Yep. Because I do not know of another person who would give up a position, especially of U.S. president, that I know, that everybody knows he did not want to give up.
Yeah.
I mean, Kim, I firmly believe that Joe Biden still believes he could give it another 4 years. I don't care what that letter said. And if you haven't read the letter, it's a great letter. You can look it up online. But basically, the one part it says, it's been the greatest honor of my life. It gets me kind of choked up, honestly.
I know.
He says, it's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it's been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. I don't know of another, and I'm going to use gender right here. I don't know of another man that would be able to do something like that, especially with the belief that they think that they could still do it. And I'm just blown away. I'm sincerely blown away.
I think it's something we're not necessarily accustomed to seeing recently with Trump being in the news every day, which is someone putting the greater good above their own good, right? So I'll bring up Mike Pence, who, had that last shred of moral fortitude to do what was right in the end. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, you look at what's, I don't know, kind of the dirty underbelly of Washington, D.C., right. And everybody's doing what's best for themselves and no one's putting America first. And I think that was knowing how hard it is for people that are older to admit that it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
And having him do that for the good of the country, it does hit you. It does hit
absolutely.
You. Mm-hmm.
We definitely want to get your guys' reaction. Love being live this morning. I will say this. You just mentioned Mike Pence. Conveniently, Mike Pence went on X, and this is what he said. President Joe Biden made the right decision for our country, and I thank him for putting the interests of our nation ahead of his own. Right. After the assassination attempt on President Trump and President Biden's decision to end his campaign, now is the time for leaders in both parties to project calm and send a message of strength and resolve to America's friends and enemies alike that whatever the state of our politics, the American people are strong and our American military stands ready to defend our freedom and our vital national interests anywhere in the world. What do you think, friends, Donald Trump's reaction to Joe Biden stepping down was? Now, Kamala Harris, and we are going to get into this, she's going to, and she has, I'm going to play a little bit. She's made her first public appearance since the announcement that Joe Biden has stepped down. She has made it abundantly clear she wants to fight to become the nominee. She does not want to make this sound like it's the coronation, although President Biden has endorsed her, which is his right. I mean, it'd be really odd if he didn't.
Well, I don't know what I was thinking. What if he said nothing and just let the Democratic process play out at the convention? But he didn't, because it was, I want to say, less than 10 minutes after the note came out, here we have an endorsement for Kamala Harris. So it's almost like he is tabbing a successor. And do you think that's fair?
That's a great question for you guys. Now, we were texting over the weekend and I was kind of like, should he have kept quiet? Two people that the media were saying haven't made their endorsements is Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama, because they're the two biggest Democratic Party leaders. Mm-hmm. And I think they're keeping quiet because this has to play out. Now, there's actually one very important date we need to keep in mind. It's basically this time frame between August 1st and August 7th. Sometime between August 1st and August 7th, there's going to be a virtual roll call. Roll call. That
Hmm.
is where basically the Democratic National Party is going to virtually see if any candidate, whether it's Kamala Harris or anyone else that wants to throw their hat in the race, has enough delegates. If Kamala Harris, who's on the phone trying to get these delegates, trying to convince
Hmm.
them I'm the person to get the nomination, if they have enough delegates, that's it. It's over. There's no open convention. They have enough delegates. But if she or anybody else doesn't, it's going to be an open convention. And there's going to be some brokering, and it's going to be like the
Yep.
60s or wherever the last time this happened. Cindy writes, I hope President Biden's health is okay because, again, he has COVID. Very correct to endorse Vice President Harris, as we voted for Biden Harris already, knowing she could become president. Anyone else would smell like the money people control everything.
Ah.
And that's how I have felt this whole time.
Hmm.
I have argued in favor of Kamala Harris. I mean, come on. This is, I've been very passionate about this.
Yeah.
We voted for Biden Harris. I mean, no, everybody knew Biden was old. There was
Yeah.
always this understanding that if Biden, God forbid, passed away, Harris would be next in line. This was not like out of left field over here, people.
So are you saying then that the democratic process where we went state by state and voted, which now seems like kind of a waste of time,
It was
but
Biden Harris on that thing.
because we
Yes.
already voted for them, we really voted for her. And so that would automatically kind of give her the leg up when it comes to the nomination.
Well, I have no problem with her fighting for the delegates, but
Hmm.
I also have no problem with Biden endorsing her and giving kind of her that oomph.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I think Biden should endorse her because
Right.
he said, if I can't do the job, this is who I think should. He's
Right.
already said that because he
Yeah.
made her his running mate. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can I give some thank yous real quickly as well? Chad, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, and said, I'm so excited about Vice President Harris's upcoming
Mhm.
2024 presidential campaign. Let's do this, America.
I feel like Chad is not alone in
Yes.
the excitement. There's like this building momentum, and I saw it over the weekend. And then this morning, I saw that nearly $50 million had been raised
It's crazy.
because people are so
It's
jazzed
nuts.
about this new life
Exactly.
being breathed into the campaign. And Chad and Nikki, can I just say, can we turn around the "you're too old to be president"
I
narrative?
know the
And then,
Republicans candidate is so old. Can
thank
you
you.
imagine?
Rambling, long, weird speeches.
God,
Maybe he should
exactly.
step out of the race.
It's so stupid. But I mean, it is true. Yeah, all of the things they were saying about Joe,
Yeah.
they have to say about Donald now.
Right.
Luis, also thank you for the $10 donation. Thanks so much for the live show. You rock. And thanks, Joe Biden, for not going down the RBG route of good intentions and terrible results. Great point, Luis. Because
Mhm.
again, and this is what makes Joe Biden somebody with such a long and storied political career, who did what needed to be done in 2020, who beat Donald Trump when
Yeah.
so many people were saying it couldn't be done,
Mhm.
and he did it. And many people, say he saved democracy, and I think is doing it again by doing the most selfless thing
Yeah.
ever. And that's what gets me. I literally get choked up. Because how many people would be able to do that? Think about what Joe Biden just did. It's not an easy thing to do, is to say,
Mhm.
I'm not going to run for president. Even though I believe that he firmly believes he could continue. He did amazing things for this country. And
Yeah.
thank you to this woman on this Kaylin, Texas, I think her name is. And if you follow me on X, I shared her post. And she has this long post. It's literally 2 posts, and it's like tiny, tiny writing, so I'm not going to share it. She's like, I mean, what has Kamala Harris even accomplished as vice president anyway? She's like, I'm so glad you asked. Get comfortable. And she has, I think, what is it? 86 in very tiny print things that Kamala Harris has accomplished as vice president. I'm just going to laundry list some of them.
Mhm.
Cast the tie-breaking vote for the American Rescue Plan. Passed the American Rescue Plan, resulting in $1.9 trillion in economic stimulus. Let's go down internationally. Visited Paris to strengthen the U.S.-France relations. Let's go down. Passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act in the House. I mean, there are so many things that Vice President Kamala Harris has done. And so when people are saying, ugh, does she have any experience? Has she been groomed for the presidency? She's been there. And for any people that are listening that are Trumpers, welcome. This is an open forum.
Mm-hmm.
Do not in any way, shape, or form think that you can bring up the border crisis when your guy Donnie is responsible for killing the bipartisan border bill. I cannot wait for Donald Trump, if Kamala Harris wins the nomination, to debate her and even try to bring that up and her look and say, wasn't it you? Wasn't it you? We were this close to having something, some sort of a reform on the border. And you told the GOP to kill it because you didn't want to give Joe Biden / Kamala Harris a win. So is it a crisis, Trump? Is it a crisis if we can just wait? So, it's just ridiculous. Elise, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker.
Elise.
And Lucy, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker
My
as
sister
well.
from another mister. Look at
Love
that.
ya. Thank you guys so much.
So I have a friend that is lead counsel for a local transit agency. So there's a mom group of us that kind of like, at least in the last election, got together, wrote postcards, were kind of active and trying to make a difference, right?
Right.
And we have this chat group. Then we're already talking about mobilizing and whatever else.
Good.
But she sends me this. The prosecutor versus the felon. And she said it earlier, and then I started seeing it everywhere. And I think this is the tagline we're going to see. The prosecutor versus the felon.
Yep.
So who do you want? Do you want the person fighting on behalf of the people? Or do you want the person who, is a criminal?
Exactly. And he is a criminal. He is a convicted felon. And again, but I also I want everyone to slow down, because I think the other thing that we need to remember is we don't want to go, and again, the Hillary Clinton route, this coronation. And I don't think Kamala Harris wants that either, even though she does have executive experience being the vice president, right? Like she's been right there. She's been, in the White House, right? With Joe Biden, but she wants to work for it. She was working the phones. I want to play you a couple of videos. This one is today. And normally she wouldn't be out there and there wouldn't be so much attention, but President Biden has COVID. She's been out there. This is her first public appearance since Joe Biden announced that he's no longer running and that she's obviously in the running. Here she is.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office. And I first came to know President Biden through his son, Beau. We worked together as attorneys general in our states. And back then, Beau would often tell me stories about his dad. He would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. The qualities that Beau revered in his father are the same qualities that I have seen every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big heart, and his love, deep love of our country. And I am firsthand witness that every day our President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
I don't know. I'm just blown away by what he did over the weekend. Flo, thank you so much for the donation, the $5 donation. Whitmer. Flo says, I really feel a Harris-Whitmer ticket will really excite voters. It's already an unprecedented year. Let's have an unprecedented ticket. Go big. Wow. It's not going to happen, Flo. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has already come out and said she will not accept the vice president's offer if Harris offers it to her. She wants to stay in Michigan. She wants to stay as governor. I love the reach. No, it's not going to happen. I wouldn't advise it. You know who I like? Beshear. I like Kentucky's governor, Andy Beshear. Who else do I like?
My
Possibly Polis.
My heart sings for Buttigieg.
I don't know if we can go. I don't know if we can go too progressive. Does that make sense?
Who was the last Secretary of Transportation you could name?
I know. I love Buttigieg. Believe me, I liked him
because they made him kind of a speaker, a voice, because he's good.
Yeah.
That's why you know who the Secretary of Transportation is.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah. Mark Kelly of Arizona.
Yeah,
that could be a
looks
good
good.
one. Arizona could be a really, really good one. I like Pete Buttigieg. I liked him running for president, right?
Yep.
I really, really did. Look, woman, gay white man. I would love it. Dude, I mean, I would vote for it. I honestly believe it's vote blue no matter who. Could that be our slogan?
Absolutely.
I told you, I was ready to weekend at Bernie Biden. I didn't care, but
Do you think
now that we
Whitmer is
know.
saying no because she wants the nomination? She wants the.
I mean, she put out a statement saying it was a no. She literally put out a statement saying if it was offered. So maybe she's full of crap, maybe. Did you also see? I literally cussed at my phone when I heard it. I was watching ABC over the weekend, ABC News. Manchin's like, I might return to the Democratic Party to go for the nomination. I'm like, screw you, Manchin.
No.
Like, if there was ever somebody that I don't want in the Democratic Party, it's Joe Manchin. Like, he can kick rocks. Like, absolutely kick rocks. So, I don't know. It has to be strategic. It has to be strategic.
She says, I love Pete, but I don't think America's ready for Pete.
A woman of color and a gay man, like, you could just see the ads. I mean, also Donald Trump released an ad. She is a vice president of the United States, and the ad calls her by her first name. Like, there's no respect for her. There's absolutely no respect. Donald Trump's going to start the whole nonsense. Is she even a citizen? Questioning, all that nonsense. He's such a racist, sexist a-hole. Like, you could already see the ads forming. I think he's some of you know it's not going to be. No. It's not going to be Newsom.
Actually,
not at all.
Constitutionally prohibited. You can't have two candidates from the same state. That's not going to happen.
And there is no way in hell that's a good. California brings nothing to the ticket. Harris is already from California. There's already going to be that nonsense. And Newsom doesn't bring anything. I mean, he doesn't bring. You need a swing state. You need a state that we need, right? So Michigan was a good one with Whitmer. That would have been something. But if Whitmer doesn't want it, then we need to move to Arizona, Pennsylvania, Kentucky would be good. So I don't know. I mean, but it has to be like, let's not be dumb here. We need to absolutely do, we need to be smart about it. Now, here's another, all of the pundits, right? All of the pundits are coming out. And I don't dislike Michael Moore. Sometimes I'm like, you're not really helping the conversation move forward. Listen to this. Michael Moore calls on President Biden to resign from office.
Well, I have heard it said that if he resigns, it puts Kamala Harris in the presidency and she becomes the incumbent.
Right.
And that is a position of strength and power for her to walk in as the incumbent. So there's some strategy behind that. There's some thinking behind that. But I feel like we've asked too much of him. I feel like he's already given. And
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also why I don't like that idea. You never know what can happen during those 3 to 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Like, God forbid something like COVID happens again, something completely out of your control, right? Like, all of a sudden some sort of tragedy happens. It doesn't have anything to do with your presidential experience or anything like that. But now all of a sudden you're blamed for it, right? So it's like, I couldn't control this. There's a terror attack, God forbid, or something like that happens. And now you're blamed for it. And now all of a sudden, nope, she shouldn't be president anymore. So that's why, no, we've asked enough of President Joe Biden. I don't think resigning to help Kamala Harris look better is worthy. Plus, then it really does look like a coronation, right? Then it does look like we're kind of putting our thumb on the scale for her to kind of give her the job when we've already said, and she's already said, no, I want to work for it. I want to work for the delegates. I want to work for the voters. So if we've already said that, then let's let it happen. Okay, let's go to some of these comments and get some of them. Okay, so let's go to Lori. A lot of us voted Biden-Harris on the implication that Biden would serve one term only. For me, was not implied Harris would be 2024 presidential candidate. Need someone who can win regardless of ethnicity and gender. Well, I don't think that ethnicity or gender should be the deciding factor for anything. I like the idea of seeing someone that looks like me up there, but it's not like that's why my vote is there. I want somebody confident. I want someone that inspires me. Obviously, I want someone that agrees that I agree with on the issues. That's most important. Like if you're talking about reproductive freedom, climate change, those issues that matter to me, that's what matters most to me. Let's see. Let's go. Donald says, interesting that MAGA is big on being tough on crime. Kamala takes that away from them. That's an interesting point also. Like, how are they going to use that whole thing? Because there are some friends of mine that's why they don't like Kamala, is because,
too tough on crime.
Too tough on crime, right? Oh my God, through nonviolent criminals into prisons and things like that.
It seems like that whole go easy on the criminals has shifted, because we had, she was the DA in San Francisco as well for a while, right? And now we have people in San Francisco looking at district attorneys like the previous one that was ousted saying, no, we can't have the streets of San Francisco overrun. People are getting it. So I don't know.
Right. Let's see. Patricia, I'm an independent and relieved that Kamala is running and hope she wins for our democracy. However, uneasy if she will make America better due to her past policies when she ran as a candidate.
Ooh,
well,
what policies, or what do you mean exactly? What gives you unease?
I feel like she had another...
Because I feel like her policies are really the same as Joe Biden's policies. It's the Democratic platform. What does she stand for that other Democrats don't?
Exactly. Now, she didn't run a very successful campaign, obviously, when she was running. She had a good debate moment early on in the campaign. She didn't even make it very far, though, remember, before she dropped out. And a lot of people have been pointing to that, saying, I don't know how far she's going to go. But she has a lot more experience now. I mean, there's a lot of time between 2020 and now. Like, she's better now. I feel like she's learned a lot about how things work, how the machine works, how politics works. I will say this also. I think she's learned a lot more as vice president than Donald Trump ever learned as president, if that makes sense. Because I don't think that Donald Trump wanted to learn what it means to be a leader. And I know I always mention this. He didn't even want to read the freaking briefings. Like, he didn't want to learn the job because, again, I don't think he really wanted to be president. I think he just wanted the title and people to follow him around and love on him and all sorts of things. I don't know. It pisses me off sometimes. Liz says, who has foreign policy experience? We need that. Well, Kamala Harris has foreign policy experience.
Because that's a question mark in my mind as well. I know on domestic issues, I like where she stands, but I haven't heard her talk about international issues as much.
Well, I mean, she's not the one that's going to be, she's not president of the United States, but she has been sent internationally to be meeting with leaders and all sorts of things. So again, I think the face and the, representative of the United States is the president of the United States. It's not the vice president of the United States. She is sent to represent the president when he can't be there, but that doesn't honestly bring the cameras all of the time. I just feel like they're running scared now. And again, like we talked about, the whole age issue is gone. Now, all of a sudden...
It's not gone from the Republican side.
But it is
No,
for the
no.
Democrats. Now
Absolutely.
look at what we're all talking about now. We're re-energized. Everything is re-energized. And the bad headlines are out the door. I just wonder if we don't play this right, if she wins the nomination, of course, but if it's an open convention, I don't know what's going to happen.
I just hope it was the right choice. I feel like it was the right choice for President Biden on a personal level.
Right.
Because even though you want to be the two-term president and even though you want to cement your legacy in history,
Right.
I just feel like after a lifetime of service, he's due a bit of retirement and a bit of no stress.
Yeah.
The guy has been, from job to public pressure to his son dying to now like all of the public pressure in the world on him. I just feel like the guy's due a break.
Yeah. Pretty
He's
much.
got what, another year and then he can chill out. So,
Exactly. Former New York mayor and top Democratic Party donor Mike Bloomberg is urging Democrats to not rush the process to replace President Biden. He has not endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. Again, Governor Gretchen Whitmer says she won't accept the vice president nomination. Quote, "I am not leaving Michigan. I am proud to be the governor of Michigan. I have been consistent." But she did announce her endorsement for Kamala Harris.
Okay.
According to the Washington Post, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has floated a job in the Trump White House and held talks with former President Donald Trump about endorsing his campaign. He's such a weirdo. I swear to God. He's just, whatever. I mean, he's just trying to stay in the headlines so bad.
He's a nightmare and he's not going to win. But the problem is he going to take votes away from Democrats who maybe are a little squirrely about vaccines?
No, I think he's going to take he's like, if anything, he would be taking away from Trump. And Trump. I mean, only Democrats are not voting for RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Wagadoo Trump supporters would be voting for RFK Jr. I am sorry. You could see Kennedy and be like, oh, it's Democrats. No Democrat in their right mind thinks that RFK Jr. is the same as JFK, or they're not paying attention. Karen says, no. Biden cannot resign because when they lose, the right-wing nuts will go AWOL again, and you need someone in power who can't claim he was doing this because of the re-election. Liz says, I wish Biden would take the SCOTUS immunity and run with it. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying Biden needs to do like whatever he can now that he's not going to run again, right?
Sure.
Like, what can you do now with impunity? But see, Democrats don't play dirty games like Republicans do. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't do that. Part of me is happy about that because that's just not how we roll. Well, on the other hand, it's like, come on, save democracy, people, you know?
He could pardon Hunter, right? I mean, he said he wouldn't, but he's not running again. He could pardon Hunter.
He doesn't need to pardon Hunter. If Hunter gets sentenced, he can go and serve his time. That's the right thing to do. Hunter doesn't need anybody to save his ass.
He could pardon him.
I know,
he could change the makeup of the Supreme Court.
There
and
you
add
go.
More justices.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
He could do all these. There's a lot of stuff he could do.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of things he could do, but I'm just saying, if I was going to do anything as Biden, I would do something about the Supreme Court. That's what I would do. I would do something. Let's see.
Well, he's already talking about Supreme Court ethics reform.
Yes,
right?
something about that as well.
So that is on his radar. So,
ooh, thank you so much for the $20, Manlow77. Give me Adam Kinzinger. You reach over to the GOP who's not crazy. I wonder if you can do that though. Can you put? Can you? But would the DNC delegates vote? I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess it's just they're voting for their presidential nominee, and then the presidential nominee just chooses their vice president, right? So it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Do you think Democrats across the country would vote for a mixed party ticket?
Yes. Given the alternative, absolutely.
What's Adam Kinzinger's voting record besides the fact that he knows the January 6th is wrong? I mean, I don't want an Adam Kinzinger who's not crazy, Trump crazy, but is still like, I don't believe that women should have access to abortion. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in climate change. Like, I like Adam Kinzinger because he's not a Trumper. But what is his issue? I don't know enough about Adam Kinzinger's statement on issues to want him to be vice president.
He's been writing on behalf of the Democrats to get people to donate. I can tell you I've gotten several emails from addressed by Kinzinger with a personal note saying, please donate to the Biden campaign. So, yeah.
Interesting. All right. Vilma says Joe Biden. Oh, sorry. Vilma says Joe Biden was not able to handle the rigors of a campaign. He is perfectly capable of governing till the end of the term. Do you want to know what else the Republicans are saying now? Is they want to invoke the 25th Amendment, that if he's not able to serve a second term, that he shouldn't be serving right now. I think that's total BS. And I think that Mike Johnson Mike Johnson is the one that's also leading this call. Mike Johnson, with all the calls of unity after this assassination attempt and everything, they are still the ones that are kind of ginning up all of this nonsense. It's so hypocritical. And it's just like, leave this longtime politician, this president, to just do what he wants to do. And it's just so wrong. They're obviously shaking in their boots. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just, it's absolutely crazy. Cheryl says we need a vice presidential man who balances her being a woman, which is ridiculous. I mean, I understand people saying, why can't we have a Harris Whitmer if Whitmer wanted it? 2 women. We've had 2 men over and over and over again. I just don't think the country's ready for it. It sucks, and it sucks to say. But Ren's responding to Manilow. He's saying, I also thought about Kinzinger, but he's seemingly so on women's health care from his past voting record. Okay, there's my answer. I'm not sure he's all in for women. That could have changed. Maybe a party switch. I wonder if Kinzinger would switch parties. I mean, the Democrats seem sane. The Republican Party is so MAGA that they don't even look like the same party anymore, right? I mean, how can you be a Republican and not be MAGA?
It's not the party of the Republicans. It's the party of Trump.
Right.
There's a name we haven't talked about a lot on this show.
Okay.
As far as vice presidential consideration when it comes to Kamala Harris, should she get the nomination.
Right.
And it is North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper.
Okay.
Apparently, Kamala Harris has a pretty good relationship with him. He's a moderate governor. He's 67, so he's creeping up there a little bit.
Okay.
He is experienced as the state attorney general, the one Democrat who has consistently been able to crack North Carolina's complicated political code, according to CNN, turning out black voters, winning the suburbs, keeping the GOP's rural margins down in the biggest races in recent years. He has a record of bipartisan wins, and apparently he and Kamala Harris have a really good working relationship because they were attorneys general together from different states. So that may be the way she goes.
Okay. I mean, again, it needs to be if Kamala Harris is it. And I keep wanting to say if because, again, I don't want this to be a coronation. I think Kamala Harris should work for it. But it needs to be strategic, as anything is. Again, when we talked about Trump choosing J.D. Vance, I don't know what the hell J.D. Vance brings to the Trump ticket at all. And it was fun. Oh, go ahead.
Did you see the piece with Buttigieg talking about Vance and his becoming vice president?
I think I did. And like
it was on Bill Maher, and he's talking about the last guy, what happened to Pence and how they try to hang him outside. He's like, you should really be kind of careful. Like, there's a reason why he has to name a new vice president, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I hope you do a little bit better. Yeah. You should always ask, or look into why the other guy doesn't have the job again. Again, it was funny because a lot of people were saying, did you really think that Donald Trump was going to choose a black man or a woman? Like Tim Scott, did you really think he was going to choose you? No. Did you, or Nikki Haley or Kristi Noem, did you really think he was going to choose a woman? No, he was not going to do that. And I really did. I really honestly did. I was shocked that he chose J.D. Vance because I still don't think that J.D. Vance, besides being a yes man to Trump, brings him anything because
other than Ohio.
But again, like, I don't really feel like Ohio, is so much was really hard to win for Trump. But maybe it is hard to win for Trump. I don't know. But I was thinking that Trump would try to reach across the aisle a little bit politically. Like, let's try to get women. Let's try to get people of color. But Trump's like, screw it. Let me just stay with my MAGA base and we'll just keep going. It's like, oh, okay. I guess you're just going to double down on what worked for you in 2016 and see if you could do it again. But he's got to be shaking in his boots now because Kamala's young if she gets the nomination.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't get the nomination, the delegates are not going to go with somebody older. That's for damn sure. So all of the concern about age and the fact that the one thing that was constant for both Democrats and Republican voters is they didn't want Trump or Biden on the ticket. That was constant. It didn't matter the party. People were like, I don't want to see either of these names. I don't want to see either of these names. So now there's somebody new. And it's Harris who was with Biden, but at least it's new and it's younger. And so Donald Trump has to be worried about that.
You remember when, and I hate to harken back the bad memories, you remember the night of the election, and we were warned by Hillary Clinton, the Clinton-Trump election.
Right.
We're warned by Hillary Clinton, you don't want to elect Trump. All this bad stuff's going to happen. Don't do it. Right? She warned us. And yet still, the night of the election, I remember just feeling so dejected when she lost. And I thought, oh, wow. I felt it like a slap in the face.
Oh God, yes. I remember that. Yeah.
You know, it's about her being a woman. That's honestly how I felt. You can disagree with me about nobody liked her, blah, blah, blah. She was, had a too much political ambition. But I still to this day feel like it was because she was a woman. It was because we're a misogynist country.
Absolutely.
And I still feel that way. But now the difference is we've seen what Trump has done. We've seen more of who he is as a president and even as a criminal, right?
Right.
And so now we get to this point. And if we vote, if it is Kamala Harris, and if we as a country vote to select Trump over Kamala Harris, God, I'm going to just feel awful about it. It'll feel like that worse. It'll feel like a double slap.
Absolutely.
Honestly, because it will be about her being a woman. It won't be about the issues, because if it was about the issues, if it was about the love of this country, then we would pick her. We would pick anybody over him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to show you a video of another person. We're talking about swing states, about if Kamala Harris gets it. Governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, who my sister-in-law who lives in Kentucky loves him, absolutely loves Andy Beshear. She totally raves about him. Could possibly be.
She's a bit conservative.
No, she's not conservative.
Right?
No, my sister-in-law is totally liberal, but she just happens to live in Kentucky.
Okay.
Unfortunately, too far away. But she likes Andy Beshear, who's and he's obviously a Democrat. But this is what he had to say about JD Vance. Now they could be going head to head if he's chosen by whoever wins the nomination. This is what he said about Vance.
So as vice president, you undoubtedly would be able to help your own people. So are you at least open to the possibility of being a running mate to Vice President Harris?
Well, I think if somebody calls you on that, what you do is at least listen. And I want the American people to know what a Kentuckian is and what they look like, because let me just tell you that JD Vance ain't from here. The nerve that he has to call the people of Kentucky, of Eastern Kentucky, lazy. Listen, these are the hardworking coal miners that powered the Industrial Revolution, that created the strongest middle class the world has ever seen, powered us through 2 world wars. We should be thanking them, not calling them lazy. And so today was an opportunity to both support the vice president, but also to stand up for my people. Nobody calls us names, especially those that have worked hard for the betterment of this country.
And so that's, just a little bit of Andy Beshear, who could possibly be if Kamala Harris or whomever wins the Democratic nomination. And so we'll see. I'm seeing a lot in the comments for Kinzinger. And also for whoever wins the Democratic nomination, Kamala Harris or whoever, to not ignore the swing states. Because remember, Hillary Clinton made big, huge mistakes when she was campaigning. And thinking that some states were locked, didn't campaign there hard. Trump went out there. And I think that the one thing that voters hate is being ignored because they think that they're just a given. And don't think that happens, because people want to know that you care about their issues, especially at times like this, where a lot of issues matter. The world changes so quickly. Stop telling me what my life is like. You come here and see what my life is like. You listen to how, inflation is impacting me. You don't assume what my housing is like, or my roads are like, or schools are like, or whatever, And so if you just fly over my state or just come here for the night and collect a check and you don't listen to me, I might not vote for you. And so I think that Hillary Clinton made some mistakes in 2016.
Yeah.
It cost her the election. I don't think Kamala Harris or whomever is going to make the same mistake.
One of the things that I was reading about Governor Andy Beshear is that age is on his side. He's 46.
Yeah, man. Like, age is on our side now. Like, I don't care.
He's a younger guy, but unfortunately, the state of Kentucky is considered irrelevant in the electoral college process. So that's not a state that's going to get her where she needs to go.
Okay.
But if you look at someone like Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro, he is only 56? He's young. He's younger. It's 51. He's 51.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And his state matters when it comes to the electoral college and just being a numbers game.
So Shapiro, also Kelly, Arizona is a good one. So yeah, there's a bunch of states that they could choose. So again, I think we just have to be smart. And again, we have to get our nominee first. I really do hope that whoever it is, I don't want an open convention. I know some people are like, oh, it'll make great TV. I don't want great TV. I want a united party. I want a united party. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot of time.
Thing is that it looks like right now, after the Republican National Convention, where they've got a locked-in candidate and they're united and together, and now you see what happens here, which one could argue had to happen, looks kind of like a Democratic Party in disarray, a Democratic Party in chaos. It might not be how it feels to us because we feel the momentum, we feel like a hope coming through, but I feel like, maybe going into the Democratic National Convention without a real clear path forward just kind of continues that notion of this party that's in chaos.
Right. I mean, right now it seems like we're kind of united behind Kamala Harris. So I think if this continues, it's going to be good. One more thing I want to throw in, the idea of the money is still up in the air. So everyone was kind of assuming that Kamala Harris would just get this kind of war chest from President Biden because, of course, Biden-Harris, right? So it would just kind of transfer. The Republicans don't like it. Apparently, they're kind of going to kind of the campaign finance laws and seeing if that's the case. Now, again, apparently it would just kind of go back to the DNC, who again could probably just funnel it right back to Kamala Harris if she becomes the nominee. So I'm not quite sure how big of a deal it could possibly be. But again, if it's a open convention,
to it? If she doesn't get it directly, does it go back to the DNC? Is that what happens to it?
This has never really happened before, is basically what I keep reading about, is there's no true rules. Everyone seems to assume that it would just go to Kamala Harris, but it hasn't been tested.
Yeah.
These are the things that, because it hasn't happened, again, an incumbent who's the presumptive nominee giving up the presidency and then the vice president just then fighting for the nomination. All of these sorts of things need to be tested. And I do think that whatever the rules may be, Kamala Harris will do whatever it is to be on the up and up, because this is what I will say about the Democratic Party, especially given the last election and January 6th and everything. They don't want any question. I will say that they want no question. All right, if this is the rule, then we'll do it by the rules. And that's it. Because the money is not going to go away. You know what I mean? And wherever it has to go and whoever's the nominee, then it will go to them. And I'm sorry, Harris has a lot of money. And a lot of people are going to support her. And if it's her, she'll have it. Kevin says some think she will have the delegates by Wednesday. Well, there still has to be the virtual vote. So the virtual vote, again, if you're just joining us, it's going to happen sometime between August 1st and August 7th. They haven't, I don't think, have set the exact date. It's going to be a virtual roll call. If she has all of the delegates, it's not an open convention. They'll go to the Democratic National Convention, and it'll just be like anything else, just like if Joe Biden was there. They'll just have the little party, and she'll be the nominee. If she does not get enough delegates during the virtual roll call, then at the convention, it's an open convention, and anybody that wants to throw their hat in the race can fight for all of those delegates, and we'll see what happens. And then I think, Kim, your whole disarray thing is really going to play out. So after August 7th, we'll truly know how the Democratic Party is really handling this.
Liz says, will Biden go to the convention? Not only will he go, he'll get a standing ovation.
He'll make a speech, probably in support of Kamala Harris, who will be fighting for the delegates. Absolutely.
Which will be a huge contrast to what happened at the Republican National Convention when they didn't have any former presidents or vice presidents show up. And why is that? One wonders.
Right. Exactly. Oh, yeah. So I'm seeing somebody just said that, oh my God. Okay. So Nancy Pelosi has just endorsed Kamala Harris. Thank you to whoever Liz, who I just saw said that, because I didn't think that Pelosi was going to do that.
I don't think so either. It would be a little weird if she didn't, though, because here you have Kamala Harris, who was the DA in San Francisco, and Pelosi's from San Francisco.
True.
And it would be like, why aren't you behind your person here? You know, you're a fellow San Franciscan. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this then. Okay, and this is just me looking into my crystal ball that doesn't exist. Then Kamala Harris has it. Nancy Pelosi is the queen of numbers.
Yeah.
She has to know that Kamala Harris has the delegates.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi does not go to the floor unless she knows that she has the numbers.
Right. It feels good.
She is the queen of this.
Yeah,
she will never be humiliated. Now, I'm not saying that Kamala Harris has it yet, but I would put dollars to donuts that Kamala Harris probably has made enough phone calls, and Nancy Pelosi has made enough phone calls to know that she's not going to hitch her ride to the wrong horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. And I don't think that that's the wrong horse to hitch your ride to. I really don't. It makes the most sense. Now, again, Kamala Harris, if there's still delegates to get, then there's still delegates to get. But it makes sense. I think having a united party, choosing the right running mate after the convention is the right move. So we'll see what happens. But Nancy Pelosi endorsing Kamala Harris is huge, in my opinion. Absolutely huge.
It's all over the place. It just popped out. So thank you for letting us know that. That's a really big deal.
That's huge. Louise, thank you for the $2 donation. Again, ladies, thank you for the extended live show. All right. So on that note, as we end the show, I want to do the big announcement. So if you guys didn't hear my announcement, what was it, a week and a half ago or whatever, I got a job. It's completely different than what we do here or at KGO. I got a job at a school. I will be working at a school in kind of an administration role. And I'm really, really excited about it. I start next week. It's full time. So again, I won't be able to do this in the morning. It's going to be taking a lot of my time away from this. So you may be asking yourself, where am I going to get my Nikki and Kim fix? In this monumental, historic time, what is going to happen to the Nikki Maduro show? Well, don't worry, my friends. Do not worry. And, oh my God, I love having this live show with these beautiful faces, right? Okay, so Kim and I have discussed it. And what we've decided is we are going to go back to having a live show. And we are thinking, and we've decided that on Thursday evenings, we're going to crack open cocktails and we're going to discuss the week's news. We're going to do kind of like, if anybody remembers from KGO, kind of 5 o'clock somewhere, we are going to do a Thursday evening live show. And Kim and I are going to discuss the politics and the news of the week. So we hope that you guys will join us Thursdays at 5 o'clock. Yep. It's not going to be wine at 9. But I think that,
but close.
I feel like the next 4 months, it deserves 5 o'clock somewhere.
I think it does deserve it. And the beauty of YouTube is that if the evenings aren't good for you and maybe this is your time, then you can always catch us on replay the next day.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And I feel like Thursdays is a good day because we can kind of dish about what's happened before. And
Right.
usually like the Friday news dump we can preview it. So we thought Thursday was a great day to do it. We'll be announcing things on Sundays and things like that. So I just balancing a full-time job, but not wanting to give up this. And we want to be here for you guys as well. So Nikki at night. RJ,
no.
we'll have mocktails. We'll pretend they're mocktails.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It won't be about the booze.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be about the politics. Yeah.
So Thursdays at 5 o'clock starting next week. I'm really excited. Kim's really excited.
Yeah,
We still want to talk about politics. It's very important. This is important times. So we hope that you will continue to join us right here on YouTube. So we love you guys. We're still going to be here this week, so don't worry about that. But we love you guys. And please subscribe to the show, okay? So hit the bell. That will also alert all of my new subscribers. Thank you guys for also seeing me on Chip Franklin's show as well. Thank you, Luis, again. Love the new show idea. Fifths at 5. Whatever. You can drink soda. You can drink water. I'm not saying you have to get sloshed with us, but let me tell you, with politics nowadays, I feel like we're going to have to do it. So, again, thank you guys so much for being here. Click the thumbs up button. YouTube loves it. We love it as well. Thank you, everybody, also for donating to the super chat. You guys are great. Let me give some thank yous again to Chad. Thank you. Luis, for all the donations you guys gave today. Elise for the $20 donation. Lucy, Kim's sister from another mister, for the $20 donation. Flo for the $5 donation. Thank you so much. Manolo with the $20 donation. Luis coming in several times for a $2 donation there and a $2 donation there. Thank you guys so much. We love you. We can't do the show without you. Donate to our Patreon. Keeps the show going. TheNikkiMadoroShow.com. The Patreon link is right there. We also take PayPal. It's really easy. Just go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then put in the email address, TheNikkiMadoroShow.com, TheNikkiMadoroShow.com, and donate whatever you can afford. And then, of course, we have a delicious sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavors. She has a guava barbecue sauce and 2 hot sauces, a guava and hibiscus and a pineapple. That's it. And they're really delicious. You can get a variety pack, but use the coupon code NIKKIM, NIKKIM, and you get 10% off every single time you order. Portion goes to our show, and we really do appreciate it. All right, guys, that is our show. Well, check us out right here tomorrow. Love you so much. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.